Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we can have a look at the latest from the live radar, run through the weather warnings as we do have a thunderstorm warning issued for parts of northern England at the moment, and it does expire at 10 PM this evening. We have seen quite a lot of thunderstorm activity earlier today, but it looks like this evening it is starting to ramp down now, so perhaps that warning does get cancelled for the rest of the evening from the looks of the live radar, but we'll have a look at that in a few moments time. We'll have a look at the latest UKV, have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days. It's going to temporarily turn warmer and it is going to remain fairly unsettled with still plenty of showers and thunderstorms. It could turn cooler for a time early next week, but as we see from the longer range charts, the long-term signal is for higher pressure to make more of an influence as we do head into the latter parts of June. Now, we did see from the GFS yesterday some very warm, if not hot, heat wave-like pattern potentially developing. We are seeing similar high pressure building in, but it is all about what sort of air mass we do see. At the moment, definitely looking drier, definitely look like it's turning warmer, but how warm and how dry, that is what we need to determine. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, which you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. Now, if you start on the live radar, you can see at the moment we've got still plenty of showers around. We've got that warning across northern England, and we still have some very heavy rain here, but it's just not particularly thundery at the moment, more moderate in intensity. Some heavy thundery showers across much of Scotland, same with Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, and plenty across England and Wales, although here it is starting to die down now. Still quite a lot of activity, but just nowhere near as intense and as widespread as it was earlier today. Now, if you look at the temperatures, as around 6 PM, you can see it's not been particularly warm today because of all the cloud and the showers around, but a few areas have got up towards the high teens where we have avoided those showers. So very up and down, but generally a fairly poor day, if we're being honest, compared to what we should expect this time of year. Just a bit better than it was earlier this week. Now, do look at the latest weather warnings. We've got this thunderstorm warning issued for much northern England, extending into some Scotland until 10 PM this evening. As we saw from the live radar, the thunderstorm activity in these regions actually seems to be dying down at the moment. So I'm unsure how much longer this will actually be in force for, and whether it is actually going to be accurate. So we'll have to wait and see. But it is in force, and again, it is for potentially 30 to 40 millimetres in a few hours, and again, could be some pretty torrential rain in places for the next couple of hours before it does die away overnight tonight. Now, if you look at the latest UKV, if we do start on the precipitation, you can see that earlier today we did have plenty of heavy showers moving through. They are starting to die away this evening. We could see some more persistent rain moving in for Scotland into tomorrow morning. That could be pretty horrible in places, and again could be some more thunderstorms around. They don't look as widespread and as large in size as they have been today, but still could be pretty active in places. As we head into Monday, we see the wind direction veering in from more of a northerly again, with plenty of showers around, and unfortunately it does look like it could be turning a little bit cooler for a time early next week before turning warmer hopefully later in the week. We could see some more persistent rain in places, but at this stage a lot of uncertainty, but you can see it is generally still going to remain unsettled with bits and bobs of drier conditions around. As I said, the wind direction will be coming in from north, so we're not going to see a particularly cold air mass, but still chilly, still a few degrees below average for the time of year, so going to send us back towards the mid-teens or higher teens at best, below average, as I continue to say, for the time of year. It's kind of been a bit of a broken record over the last week or two, as we haven't seen anything absolutely insane, but we have definitely seen a lot of below average conditions, and it has been a really quite chilly first half of June. Now, if you look at the max temperatures we see this afternoon, maybe just topping 18 or 19 in the best spots. As we head into Sunday, again, maybe 19 to 21 in the best areas. But again, it will be all dependent on shower activity. As we head into Monday, starting to cool down in the north, but in the south still could see 20 or 21. But you can see it is starting to freshen up. As we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, much cooler across Scotland, still maybe 20 to 22 further southwards, and then into Wednesday, look at that, really quite poor temperatures, not getting much above 15 or 16 degrees in most areas, and by Thursday it's likely to drop further with the temperatures down towards the low single digits overnight, so turning much chillier through Wednesday and Thursday, and potentially hopefully warming up into the following weekend. Now if you have a look at the latest GFS, you can see the reason for all this sort of chilly conditions is this low pressure system sat over the top of us and a bit more of northerly winds arriving next week, and it is going to keep it pretty fresh indeed. And we're going to stay relatively unsettled, potentially towards next weekend before it does start to dry up, especially towards Sunday. And then look at this, high pressure extending from the southwest. A very similar pattern to what we saw yesterday. The only difference is the isobars aren't as tightly packed, which means the air masses aren't going to be shifting as quickly. So it means if we look at the upper air temperatures, it will be turning warmer, but it won't be turning as hot as the run yesterday showed, because it takes quite a bit longer for that warmer air to get drawn northwards. And by the time it does start to get drawn northwards, we do see a bit of an air mass shift and wind direction shift with the small low pressure system breaking through. So although all the way out to 384 hours, the final sort of week or so of this run is actually looking very nice and positive, it's nowhere near as hot as it was yesterday. Still though, warmer than average, still plenty of higher pressure, and still looking pretty decent indeed. Yes, some temporary blues there, but most of the time we are towards yellows. It's the final week or so of June here from the latest GFS, which is, if we think about the surface temperatures, would sort of be mid-20s, maybe upper 20s if we're lucky and we see some persistent sunshine. So definitely looking positive from the GFS today. If you compare to the GEM, again, broadly similar. High pressure starting to build in towards the latter part of next week, especially into Sunday, and holding on into the following week. You can see low pressure is still parked to our north, but if you look at those upper air temperatures, you can see the upper air temperatures do drift towards average or above average, potentially even the 15-degree isotherm moving in. But you can see it's not ridiculous, it's 4 to 6 degrees above average. So yeah, looking positive indeed. We'll just have to wait and see exactly how it does develop, but definitely positive signs again from the GFS and the GM today. Now, if you compare to the ECMWF, which has been a little bit more pessimistic over the last couple of days, but again, high pressure building in towards the end of next week and trying to hold on, and it is actually holding on here towards a week on Tuesday, so in 10 days time. And you can see the upper air temperatures are warming up as well. Not quite as hot as the run from the GFS yesterday, but definitely showing those very warm air masses starting to move in, the 15-degree isotherm starting to drift into the channel. And again, that's the sort of threshold for 30 degrees. So we're looking here probably around the mid-20s, maybe upper 20s at best. 15-degree isotherm moves in, then we could be looking at 30-degree max temperatures. So definitely looking pretty positive. We'll just have to wait and see exactly how it does develop. Now, if you look at the latest ensembles, you can see we're below average over the next few days, trending back towards average. And then generally as we head into the second half of June, we are looking more towards average or above average. Still cooler runs in there, so it's not guaranteed we see something drier and warmer. And you can see there is a big sort of cluster of precipitation spikes in around 5 or 6 days time. So that's towards Friday, Saturday time next week. We could see more heavy thundery showers before we do see a drop off in precipitation. Not zero, which means not all runs are going for higher pressure, but it's definitely lower than it has been over the past few days. So again, you can see that although the operational runs are more bullish on something dry and warmer, you can see the ensembles a bit more moderate. Definitely not showing it as dry as those operational runs would lead us to think, and definitely not showing it as warm. Still not cold, still average to above average generally throughout the final 10 days of this GFS ensemble run, but just not quite as warm as the operational runs have been showing. And if we finally compare to the ECMWF, it's broadly very similar. We'd see that precipitation sort of cluster towards the end of this upcoming working week, and then we do see it drying off a bit. Definitely looking a little bit more dry than the GFS were, and the upper air temperatures are a degree or two on average higher, and there's quite a big cluster there appearing towards the 15-degree mark. So perhaps the ECMWF is a little bit more bullish here than the GFS ensembles, which is, to be honest, quite a surprise, but definitely looking positive. And you can see the 2 meter temperatures are on an upwards trend, with the majority of ensemble members getting us towards the low or even mid-20s as we head into the final week of June. And you can see a few runs getting towards the high 20s or 30 degrees. And again, the ensemble members normally underdo the temperatures because they are lower resolution and they are estimating temperatures around the midday and 6 p.m. point. They work in 6-hour intervals. So we're not at 3 hour intervals. If we were, we'll probably be able to say the peak temperature. But getting up towards the 30-degree mark around midday and 6 p.m, that is definitely showing something very warm there. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how it does develop. But for the time being, the ensembles are definitely starting to trend that way, and we're definitely seeing it from the operational runs today. So definitely looking positive as we head into the second half of June. It is unfortunately going to remain cool and relatively unsettled over the next 5 or 6 days, but it should be getting better, hopefully, beyond that. But I'll keep you updated over the next few days. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.